Be advised, you are coming in weak and unreadable.
Say again, Con Tower. This is Hachi. Do you read me over?
Pacho, this is Con Tower. I read you Lima Charlie.
Con Tower, Con Tower. Request permission to launch and commence the field op. Over.
Stand by. Pacho, permission granted. Say again, permission granted.
Roger that. Launching podcast in 3, 2. You are now entering the field op with your host, Pacho Correa, Chief Warrant Officer 3, United States Marine Corps retired. Get some. Hurrah! Get some. Hurrah! What's going on, everybody? Another week is upon us. Baby Friday is here, or Friday Night's Eve, as I also like to call it. But God damn it, it's almost the weekend. What's up, everybody? How's everybody doing out there and on the interwebs? And shout out to the folks out on the West Coast, 3 p.m. You're probably, someone making your drive back home. And as well as, the folks here on the East Coast time, and obviously Central time as well. But hey, we got an awesome show this week. But let's get all the pleasantries out of the way. Hey, this show is brought to you by Primerica. Primerica is a really great company based on, founded on some great morals by Art Williams. They're listed on the New York Stock Exchange. They separated from Citibank, Citigroup. You may know that company back in 2010, and now their stock is worth over $200. So the bottom line is that this company has been around. It's got quite the reputable track for helping people. And the best part is that if you are a veteran or you're transitioning out of the service or you are in the service and you're looking for a flexible side gig where you can make some good money helping people as well as earning some state-funded licenses in the financial industries to be an investor, as well as in the life industry and so on and so forth, paid for by the company, now's the time to do it. Because if you're a veteran or in the service, they'll waive the $99 background check fee. And basically, all you pay is just $25 monthly fee for joining the company. So if you want more information, you want to get some great licenses in the finance industry paid for by Primerica, now is the time to do it. You have until tomorrow actually to do it. The show link bio is right there. Just or shoot me a DM and I can get you all plugged in with all the right information. So hey, if you're gonna get out of the service, this is something good to you. They're not asking you to quit your job. You can just go ahead and do this in the interim and still have some state funded licenses. All right. This show is also brought to you by Castle Global Services. Castle Global Services, it's a company that can help you out, whether it's residential or you have a business. They have a bunch of services like communications, cable, security systems, so on and so forth. One of the good products that they have right now, and it's still enrollment month, is Impact. So if you can't afford the regular medical insurance that Obamacare, what a great program has to offer, check out Impact. It's right there on the show link bio. Go to castleglobalservices.acnibo.com and click on the services tab and you either commercial residential and find out more about Impact Health Share. So no commitment. You can just go in there and ask. And hey, the worst you can find out is that hey, you're going to save money or afford a much better program. Okay, and now, in addition to this, we're also sponsored by the VA. So here's an awesome message from Mike Richmond from the VA.
This message is from the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs. Veteran service organizations, often known as VSOs, offer many services for veterans, service members, dependents, and survivors. Whether it's holding job fairs, finding solutions to challenges such as homelessness, healthcare, or financial issues, or educating veterans on federal, state, county, and local benefits, VSOs are a great resource for veterans. VSOs also offer veterans a place to socialize with other veterans for peer support. Plus, for help filing a claim or appeal, you may want to work with an accredited lawyer, a claims agent, or a VSO. VA trusts these professionals because they're certified in VA claim and appeal processes. To learn more, go to va.gov and search for VSOs.
That's some really good gouge right there, folks. Also, if you're going through, unfortunately, some marital troubles and you're going through a lawyer, I would highly recommend go through a VSO lawyer as well, one that knows the intricacies of military law and all the things that it can bring. So it'll help you out in the long run and prevent you from being from getting taken in the tuchus, as they say, at the end of that divorce. Because at the end of the day, ain't no winners with no divorce, anyways. So just VSO is a good way to go. All right. And last but not least, everybody, look, this show is all about. I served 21 years, and a lot of you listeners as well. You did your time in the service supporting this great American Constitution. So, hey, that being said, this show is all about freedom of speech, right to bear arms, all that good stuff. So, if you like what you hear, like, subscribe, and follow. Make sure you support our program and let somebody else know because we pass some really good information. Or if not, that's fine too. It's your prerogative. Perhaps check out some from the awesome folks at sitchradio.com because without them, we wouldn't be here. Brian Colburn supports a lot of these shows, and he and his team are the backbone to create not only this show but many others on that platform, Sitch Radio, that'll tickle your fancy and some really cool stuff. So support us, support Sitch Radio, and that's pretty much it. All right, I think that I got all the cool stuff out of the way. Hey, we got an awesome show to you today. This is kind of continuing a little bit of me when we met John, who's the expat living abroad and all that good stuff. Glenn has a really cool story as well. And by the way, he's a cool dude because he's a Marine just like myself and everybody else who supports this show. But shout out to all the services. But hey, let's bring Glen Galindo into the fold.
How you doing? How you doing, buddy?
Glenn? How are you, brother?
I'm excellent. Thanks. I appreciate the invite.
No. I think it's great it's fine. By the way, thanks for your service. And it's great to having you on the show. I've been, trying to get you internally. Truth be told, I've been trying to get you worked into the shoot. It's just but with when John came aboard, I was like, okay, this is the perfect time to bring Glenn as well because I think you got a really cool story to share. But why don't we start out with this? Tell us a little bit about yourself. Well, what's your military background? Where did you serve? All that cool stuff before we get started.
Sure, appreciate it. Well, my time when I was fortunate enough to be active duty was back from 93 to 97.
Okay.
And it was I don't know, many perhaps many of us shared the same those of us that are first generation into the Corps, into the military service. I think it's kind of unique. There's many that are like I met in the Marine Corps, a lot of guys and gals that have been in generation after generation, but when I decided, hey, I want to serve, I first back in, I was still an undergrad in Sacramento State in California. And I remember I was going to go, all right, let's find out what the Army's got. They were downsizing. All right, let's find out what the Air Force has got. Downsizing. I think that was Bill Clinton era. And, Marine Corps left. I go talk to the OSO, the officer recruiter.
Yeah.
And he gave me that good old, well, I'm not sure we want you. And that was it. What do you mean you're not sure you want me? Hell no. So, we fought to get in there to get a nomination slot and went to OCS and survived that back and didn't commit. Survived it, 236 started in Bravo Company and 124 of us finished OCS. Didn't commit. I wasn't finished with my degree yet. Went back to Sac State. I had to finish classes, took 2 semesters. And after spending time with the officers and the NCOs that we had, your life changes, man. You go back to your college, to your community, and it's just, okay, so there's just a different level, man, a different level of commitment, of integrity, of enthusiasm, of teamwork. And I said, no, I want some more of that. And so sure enough, I signed on, had a fantastic time, Camp Pendleton, first FSG, became at the basic school. I thought I wanted to be a grunt because that's what you think of.
Right. Everybody, it's like,
I don't know any better. Isn't everybody a grunt? No, dude. There's support personnel and, combat support. And then there's support.
Pogues.
Yeah. So, okay. But I remember a warrant officer, someone like you, at lunch, right before they assign the MOSs, the military skills.
Right.
I met him at lunch, former enlisted, warrant officer. And he's like, hey, man, how you doing? Right there by the salad bar. And that afternoon, they were going to ask us, what MOS do you want, according to your ranking at the basic school?
Yeah.
And I was the last guy in the top third. So I had a shot at something. And he's like, don't be stupid. Get data systems. What? What? I want to be a grunt. Don't be stupid. Get data systems. Okay. And there was 2 guys in the company that were computer science majors.
Right.
And there was only 2 slots for data systems. Well, that warrant officer, the way he said it, he just had my respect, and he knew better. He's like 16 years in. Data systems. What? And I got it. And, I was lucky. I was lucky that I got that advice. For me, it worked out because, to be honest with you, I would have had a hard time being the best guy at combat arms. I survived the basic school.
Right.
I was glad to be on the team, but I was, a first generation guy. I had to be I was in remedial swimming, back when the commandant got in trouble. Remember those days? The commandant got in trouble. And he said in 60 Minutes, he said, well, I forgot the exact words, but anyway, he conveyed the message that minorities couldn't swim. Well,
I remember.
He said that when we were at basic, all of us, and my parents are both Mexican nationals, Mexican American, and we're watching there. We just got out of remedial that morning. And sorry, it was a bunch of brown and black guys sitting there, about 20 of us.
Statistically, I'm not going to, let's just say inner city kids for the most part.
If you don't grow up swimming, what the hell?
Yeah,
and if you're first generation in the military, you didn't live on bases. So, it's just a reality, right? The guy got in trouble for it, and we're like, well, that's true.
Motherfucker ain't wrong.
It ain't wrong. Hey, don't get offended. Shit, learn to swim.
Like,
my kids are swimming now, right? But anyway, so I had a great time, man. I was there in Camp Pendleton at the ISMO. Fantastic experience. Time spent with my brothers there, and it was tough to live. I ended up with my staff sergeant. We were getting out at the same time. He got out before me. And he started, we were, in data, we were planning early programs for data tracking of assets, asset tracking, coming up with databases. Computers were just getting in. I was the guy who ordered computers for Camp Pendleton, like, dinosaur computers. And he got out and he asked me to go and help him. And we started a software company, continuing some of the contracts that he primarily, the deal. I was the lieutenant. It was the staff sergeants and the gunnies that were making shit happen. And, and so he got out. He was the guy that knew how to code. And we ended up starting a company, all Marines in Carlsbad, California. We became Oracle partners, Microsoft partners.
Oh, and shit. Wow. I remember all that stuff. Oracle.
We did it for 4 years. We developed software for intermodal trucking, asset tracking, containers and trucks at the ports. And we ended up booking another warrant officer that we brought on board. He had developed this little DOS app for independent dump truckers, guys that haul dirt and rocks for a living. Right. And we windowized it, made it GUI, so they could do their billing and get their loads paid. So we had a great time that too. Ventured into, learned what it was like to sell your company for stock. And they were wearing Carlsbad. I was a proud millionaire for a week. And then the .com bust came.
Oh yeah.
And our investors who had upsold our company for other companies that went from like $4 a share to 1 penny a share. Oh my! So life's been good. It's been a wonderful adventure. Those my 30s, and what can I say, man? I'm very, very appreciative of you're into service. You kind of made who you are, but I just felt that I was definitely polished as a professional, polished as a leader, challenged, because you have to, right? That's the beauty about military service. You have to solve it. You can't just quit and go home. You're there, and
Right.
And so that's only those of us who've served and spent lucky enough to spend time appreciate and understand that, and probably want that for our kids as well. So I'm really glad you found me, man. I'm really glad you have this podcast, and I hope we can do something good. I hope we can reach other vets, and I know we're going to talk about life abroad. Lead on with the questions. Saying hello to from Colombia.
No. Yeah, no, it's great. I mean, you got a really cool background story. By the way, it's weird, dude. I started out in motor T. I mean, as a mech. Then I obviously, as a warrant officer, you kind of become more of a logistician, or what was it they call it? An advocate for your MOS is what they used to call it, politely put it, which is basically fighting back and forth with just about everybody about funding and program and how to better support your program. But it's funny, dude. I mean, I remember using Oracle and all those things, and I think so did you have your hand? I mean, we'll get to this here in just a second, but did you have your hands in the whole RF when they were tagging assets?
Yes.
Oh shit!
Yeah.
No kidding, man. That's awesome, bro.
Yeah. Well, where were you at in like 97, 96?
Dude, so we came in at the same time. I mean, I came in 92-ish, 93 is when I came in, obviously enlisted route. But I got out 97 for a brief stint. But I'm a retread. I got out and I came back in after my first. Wow. I mean, it wasn't that long. I was out for a little bit. So when I came back in, we were doing all that tagging of assets and blah, 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 and all that stuff. So that's awesome, dude.
No, they were connecting when it was, comm company and data were merging. Datacom was born.
Right.
And you're reordering your mean Band-Aids and bullets on the field. That was it was a concept still at the beginning, right? It
right.
was tested. Yeah.
So how did you end up? So how does a guy from Sacramento, I guess Mexican heritage, end up in my country in Colombia with this awesome foundation and this awesome, fantastic platform of educators and such? Go.
Yeah, man. No, it's and of course these stories have a lot more detail, but
right
for the purposes of limited time.
Yeah,
I'm here because one of my best friends, he since passed away, but I owe him. I think my daughter, as a little girl, and this guy are, to their credit, why I'm happy living abroad.
Okay.
So he had connections with Florida. He went to Sac State with me, and he had connections in Florida. And Florida, being close to Colombia, came to Colombia. Yeah. Like it happens so many times. Heads up, guys. They fall in love with a Colombiana. They went to Medellin, like it happened so many times. And he said, yeah, I met the girl of my dreams. And so he calls me up. Hey, I need your ass in Colombia. I need you to be my best man. I need you to go sit at my wedding. And we got to do this. Oh man, are you crazy? Now, listen, our age, we grew up in the 80s, right? We watched all the Godfather movies and Casino, and and saw the Al Pacino and the guy in the helicopter and the necktie.
Right. Yeah.
So I was like, dude, are you crazy? I ain't going to Colombia. The movies are cool, but it's stupid. It's dangerous. No, I don't want to go.
Yeah.
Well, quit being a P, get your ass down there. I need you to do it. I was in grad school in Washington State University up in Pullman, Washington. Spring break was coming up. He convinced me.
Right.
All right. And so, fine, I'll go. All right. Good friend. He convinced me. All right, I'll back you up. And show up. We were in our mid-30s. I think it was 35, 36. And I meet this 19-year-old that he's supposed to be in love with. I'm like, dude, what are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? Okay, so I spent a week before he arrives trying to understand the situation. And actually, my goal was to talk him out of making this horrible mistake.
Right, obviously.
And that week, grandma, the aunts, the whole matriarch there group, all they do is tell me 1,000 reasons why their beloved, wonderful, beautiful young lady, niece or grandchild or daughter, is smart, and for many logical good reasons, she should be looking at and rightly fall in love with an older man with an established lifestyle who's going to appreciate her, who's going to take care of her, and she is going to take care of him and appreciate him, like arranged marriage.
Right.
Damn, after a week, they convinced me. So instead of sabotaging, I set up a kick-ass wedding. He came down. The guy was head over heels over this girl, and I believe she was about him. Good guy, great guy, funny guy. So I caught the I caught the bug, man. I thought I had a great time.
You got the Colombia fever?
Listen, a week passed, and I was in spring break. It's just a week, and I called my professors and I said, "Hey, professors, listen, I'm in Colombia, and I've been kidnapped. But
Get the fuck out.
I think I know how to get away in about 2 weeks." So I stayed 3 weeks. I had an incredible, awesome time in Medellin. Loved it. I can't say how or what. I had a good time because this is being recorded. I just had a great time. So that summer, I came back and earned my TEFL, my teaching English foreign language certificate in Medellin and in Bogota. Spent the whole summer, had even a greater time. And man, it was under the skin at that point. Went back, life kept going. And then 2 years later, that was in that was about 2007. And then a few years later, in 2013, I had started, years before, I'd started a foundation. I'm a former migrant farm worker of California. Yeah. And I started a foundation of supporting students to get to college, scholarships for first generation students, other fellow migrant farm workers to get to the university. Mentorship and internships, and I was promoting military for them and so on. And I was promoting for health professionals to go abroad, to widen their horizons. And a buddy of mine, an Air Force major, a pilot, has this company where they go on medical missions abroad. They're in Africa, Central America, South America. And I said, hey, you should add Colombia. And his mom overheard me. No, that's crazy. It's too dangerous. And I said, no, I'll help you set it up. And so he said, sure, you go down there, check it out, and tell us where to do it safely and connect the you're a Marine guy. You can do logistics, risk management. You can coordinate this. You got it.
Right.
So that's it, man. That was my ticket to come back. I landed Christmas Day of 2013. So I'm about to go 10 years, a decade operating down here. For the first 2 years, I would go back and forth. And initially, I had to set up shop where would be the right way to to where the right place and with whom to do medical missions. And I thought I was coming on the plane over, and I was thinking, well, Colombia is known for three things. Pablo Escobar, but how do I promote that? Shakira, she was just becoming big at that point. I was like, well, but it's not like she's going to be there to greet us at, at the airport. Can't do that. So I thought, coffee. All right. So I landed in Bogota, hired a girl to take me to the coffee part of the Coffee Triangle Center of Colombia. I told her ignorantly, take me where Pablo, Juan Valdez lives. She thought I was joking. I was dead serious. I thought Juan Valdez was a dude with a big old farm. No. Turns out, you may know, it's just a fictional character representing the coffee industry, the farm work. It's a co-op, and he's the Mickey Mouse image.
Well, that's it. I've never heard that, but yeah, that fucking makes sense.
Yeah. So she didn't tell me, man. We started traveling. I'm like, we're gonna get to this guy's farm. It's like third day. She's like, oh, you're not joking. Okay. No, let me tell you. So we went to the foundation of the co-op, national co-op, and the labs and the factory, blah, 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 blah. And sure enough, man, it's gorgeous. It's just beautiful. Sometimes different is beautiful. And the landscape in the coffee region is different. In North America, we just don't have the plants, the ranges. It's different. And so that right away, your eyes are watching fresh stuff, new stuff, and it's beautiful. It's like being in Farmville with Jurassic Park. It's just gorgeous. And you're riding around these hills on a Jeep with no seatbelts, hanging out in the back. And it's nice, man. It's spring weather year round. So I fell in love with the setting, with the stage. And sure enough, I thought this is the place where people are going to enjoy coming. And I partnered up with a government grant nonprofit that would take food and advice to single moms in the villages, coffee villages. And they already had the relationship. So I said, look, I'll bring medicine, I'll bring doctors, and let's do clinics together. And we did that. We did it for 2 years. We've done like 73 medical clinics, over 1,000 nursing and pre-med and doctors and nurses have come. And it's been just tons of fun. And then, now it's fun, but I was still spending my own nickels, my savings to run this nonprofit. And I ran out of money. And so I was cracking my brain. Okay, what do I do? And I got a call from the Colombian federal government, the Ministry of Education, saying, hey, we heard you can bring foreigners to Colombia. We're running a bilingual program nationwide. Would you like to be a teacher? I was out of money and I had employees, local employees. And I was thinking, no, listen, that's cute. That's wonderful. Now I'd spent in the US over 20 years working in education at the universities, right. In high school, talk university. So it was my shtick. It was my thing. And of course, they called me, but I can't do that. I got to come up with a way to keep my guys working. So I hung up. That was a Wednesday night. They called me on a Thursday night and they said, hey, listen, how about if you're a state coordinator? What does that pay? Oh, so much. No, it's not enough. Thanks. They called me Friday night. Long story short, they called me Friday night and said, look, would you like to be the national director of this thing? How much does it pay? It was exactly the salary that I needed to cover my guys, staff of 4 I had.
Damn, that's so nice of you. Holy shit, dude, man.
It was exactly what I needed to cover their salary. So I called them up Friday night, guys, this has come up. It means I have to abandon you. You guys keep running the foundation. I got to go earn money so I can pay you. Go. So I took the bus from where we are to Bogota, showed up in the morning. They gave me a mic and I started running orientation. We had 467 teachers in 267 public schools and 67 communities nationwide. All of a sudden, I was in my thing. I never thought I'd come down to Colombia to be in education. Holy cow, it just happened. I said, sure, what a Marine does. Sure, hey, you got it. I can do that. Can you do that? Yes, got it. And next thing you know, we did that. The program only lasted 1 semester. But then all the all the foreigners that I brought in, 2/3 went back home, but the other third, they fell in love with Colombia and they could stay. So they started knocking at doors to try to get jobs. Some got jobs. I started getting these calls because the schools didn't know how to do XYZ with the foreigner, or they wanted more. I don't know, call Glenn. All of a sudden I started getting these calls. Sure, I can help you. And that's how the staffing started, which gave me the means for my crew to be able to fund themselves. We started creating revenue to keep the foundation open, because volunteering, you can't charge a lot. You try to cover
Right.
overhead. You accept people sometimes without them covering because it's a good thing to do. It's not a moneymaker. I spent the first 7 years not taking in a salary. I also became a minimalist. The person that helped me was my little girl, man, because when, like many of us divorced parents, when I became a weekend dad back in the States, and my little girl was 5, 6, 7, 8, she was little, and she didn't give a shit about what I would do. I mean, I got to see her every other weekend. So like 10 days, 12 days without, then you see your little kid, right? And when I got divorced, I was like a single guy with a lot of stuff. I had my boat, and I got divorced. I went and got a boat.
Yeah.
The biggest freaking grill I could get. And I have wave runners, all my toys. So I was like, hey, girls, want to date my stuff? You got to hang out with me. Consciously or unconsciously, that's what's really happening. And I lived in a college campus. So, it was easy to be. I had more toys than the other guys. But on the weekend, and I wouldn't talk to anybody else, and I would just spend to my daughter. She didn't care. We would go to the shelter and play with cats, and go to the park and go on the slide, and she didn't care. And we had the same little simple menu, some frijoles, some beans, and a drumstick, and we would eat that every weekend. And it was a contrast, my life as a guy, as a man, my dating life, and how simple with my little girl life was. And so little by little, I became a minimalist, man. It's just, I thought and actually didn't think I needed $6,000 to keep my lights on, to fix my stuff, insure my stuff, store my stuff, replace my stuff, buy more stuff. I needed it. And by the time, about 1.5 years it took to make this transition, I just needed child support, and that was just a few $100. And it's because my little girl got me there. She showed me the way. That when I told my friend, hey, you should go into Colombia. If that hadn't happened, I couldn't have gone, man. I'd been trapped making a living. And all of a sudden, when he said, well, you go do it, I said, okay, I can do it. I'm not tied to, the job that needed me to pay me so much. I could do my work with my stuff. So I got lucky in those two respects, man. And I was able to come down. And once I started riding the Jeeps, and my little girl later on, she said, I want to be a doctor. And once again, she encouraged me, because I thought, aha, she's a very successful young lady, very smart, reads a lot. She's now going to go into medical school. And she told me, I want to be a doctor. And I said, aha. By the time she was in high school, she's busy with all these activities, a leader in dance and academics and sports and track. I thought, aha, I'm going to be smart. I'm going to get ahead of her. I'm going to have this cool thing for doctors and pre-meds that she can come and visit me in the summer. So she was, again, my motivation to set up shop. I said, honey, I'm going to start this thing, and you're going to come, and you're going to work with doctors and other medical students. You're going to have tons of experience, and medical schools are going to love you, and let's do this. So, I just started doing it. And after I did it for 2 years and decided I need to stay so that my staff wouldn't have to be laid off every time, I would come up with a team. So once I set up shop, it's founded as a Colombian nonprofit, and we started accepting other volunteers of other social work educators. and we started supporting other tiny little nonprofits that work with sex workers or children or the elderly or animal care. And we just kind of started becoming part of the community. And once I did the staffing thing, okay, I knew that there was the ability to self-fund. I never liked asking for donations or writing grants. Just never really enjoyed that asking part of it.
My wife was in the nonprofit industry for many years, and she's burnt. She's like, it's the most, so I get it. So the Minga House basically, essentially as a whole, is a network of different programs and platforms that help, teaching, and then you got all these smaller sub communities of help for doctors, um, women in the
well,
in the
yeah, right now they're more like departments. We have 46 on staff. So I have 46 on payroll. And I'm very proud. Originally, I always thought that my project was the people I would bring on board, that in the small community, we could create jobs where they would practice or learn their English, deal with the world. And in a small rural community in rural Colombia, that's impossible. Nothing else provides them that. And they could also make a living. And we've grown. And so right now, the departments, we have the first is the volunteer Colombia, and facilitating short-term volunteer experiences. Then we have the Teach Colombia, long-term contracts as teachers or long-term volunteers with a visa. And the pandemic killed us. And so I had to come up with something else. By that time, and the pandemic came in 2019, 2020, we were already doing state contracts on teaching Colombian teachers, doing immersion programs for them, and working with government contracts down here. And I would always tell the Colombian teachers, you have to go travel abroad to the US or Canada or Australia or England or somewhere to really up your level as an English speaker. And then they would start saying, well, are you going to help us? Okay. So I started researching for them, and I found out there was a huge demand for teachers in the US because the pandemic got a lot of older teachers out of there. They don't want to deal with it. The technology divide, distance learning, forget it. I don't want to teach that way. And also some nutty decisions, which, a little bit woke decisions, well-intended, but have crazy consequences. I mean, 8 years ago, some states and some districts made well-intended, but they've had complications. They said, hey, Kentucky, your teacher population must reflect your student population ethnically. So at that point, Kentucky's like, 1% minority. Everybody else is just like, the people have been there forever. And so that reverse discrimination thing, where now a lot of teachers, they couldn't be hired because they were white. They couldn't be hired. They had to hire. So
it's bullshit. Anyway, let's call it for what it is.
It's retarded because forget the merit. Let's just hire things. And so I'm sure everyone watching agrees with this.
No, it's well intended, but fucking stupid. I mean, let's go.
Right.
It is what it is.
So the districts with older people retiring and the pandemic and technology and these diversity initiatives, they're screwed. And so they were desperate for Spanish-speaking teachers because there didn't exist. They set these requirements that there wouldn't be enough supply. So I became aware of that, and I thought, well, I'm surrounded with Colombians teachers that at that point, like right now, I've got 197 private schools as clients throughout Colombia that we do their staffing. And we work with several states already. So I thought, hey guys, how many want a contract in the US? Hands up, go up. I've got about 8,500 Colombian teachers waiting for their turn to be interviewed. In the last 3 years, we've sent 434 teachers to the US under J1 or H1B contracts, teaching contracts. Our goal this year is to send 500. It's a crazy goal, but hey, you should only have crazy goals. So what this is giving now for our foundation is, first we're using my money, and then we managed to survive, but now we're thriving. Now we're growing, we're hiring, we're donating. We were able to donate over probably around 43%, I think it is, of our revenue to our local community. We were able to acquire a private school, turn it into nonprofit as an association for bilingual education for our community. We've already scholarship 14, it's about $1,000 a year for their tuition to be in a bilingual international school. Tiny school, I got 144 students, and we were able to put in about $125,000. You just, say, take it, done. You don't get a return on it because you made it into a nonprofit now. So it's not like we're investing to make money out. It's spent. We built walls, built classrooms, bought equipment, scholarship kids. And we're having an awesome time. 2024 is going to be amazing. It's going to be awesome. We want the best bilingual school in Colombia. I just had an earlier discussion today with a statistician that we're going to develop a 5-year strategic plan and benchmarks in those 5 years, how to become that compared to the best bilingual
I may be
school.
at staff at your school.
Hey, man, we're going to have a good ass time. It's just so much fun. We have, the term vereda, village?
Yeah,
Vereda.
yeah.
Right, okay. So we're going to, we already picked our first kid. I went to this vereda. This kid got up at 4 a.m. to get to school at 7 a.m. He gets 4 hours, only 3 days a week. That's his school. So I told all the teachers, pick your best kid. Who deserves a break? Who deserves the opportunity? Everyone said Samuel. Okay, Samuel, 6th grade. We brought him, put him in our school for a week. Let's see if he's liked, loved for his initiative, for his work ethic, for his teamwork, for his brain, his ability to pick up English. Problem solve. Everyone loves this kid. We're going to give him a scholarship. We're going to put him into our community Monday through Friday, get him transportation back home every weekend. And now the door's open for him. And so we have 21 villages around us. We're going to pick one kid from each one. There are 13 barrios in our neighborhood sectors of the community. We're going to pick the best kid for each one. Whoever merit-based deserves a break. I don't care if they're rich or they're poor. We're going to build this model, which now we can share with all of Colombia, of like a charter magnet school, merit-based to get in and merit-based to stay.
That's awesome, dude. Hey, just we're getting close to that time, but right quick, take a minute to, where is that if people want to fund this and donate, where can they find you? I did include it on the show bio, but social medias, whatever. I mean, this is your time to shine, so that way we get more people. Because I'm somewhat biased because I'm born and raised Colombian, and obviously you've been a fellow brother Marine, of course, no kidding. But seriously, I mean, I've always been a lifelong teacher. I've always loved teaching. That was my original undergrad degree. Just bless you. It's just after things played out. My grad degree was in occupational health and safety, but I still haven't closed the door on that. But many more conversations, and definitely we're going to bring you back. But definitely go ahead and take a time and tell everybody where they can find you.
The biggest message I want to share is be happy, man. Listen, to all of you guys that are just got out of the service, or you got out and you're still looking for your next chapter, your purpose. We're all our life is gonna end, whether you're faith-based or not. I'm still searching that, haven't figured that out, but I know for sure I'm going to die, right? It's gonna be over. But my kids, it's important that they have the image of a father that they're proud of, that they can use hopefully as some reference of a role model and a legacy. And so, I realized, I might be around 10, 15, 20 years. And so I'm just determined, when I became a minimalist, when I came out here, I should be happy. So, dare to be happy. I don't know, go live in Hawaii if you want to live there. Check out Colombia, go to Thailand. Life will be over. So just dare to walk away, dare to get rid of the crap that keeps you working in a place where you may not be happy about. Just get rid of your stuff, man. Be free. And I'm having a blast. I love the people I'm working with. I love my new bride, my wife. I showed up. I was in my late 40s, fell in love like my buddy with a 22-year-old, and life has been beautiful and wonderful. She thinks she's an old lady, and we've been together 7 years, and she just turned 30, and she's like, "Oh my God!" And I'm 55 now, so life is good. My three little people, little sons and daughter. I got a 7 and a 5 and a 2, and I reflect back, I'm definitely living the best part of my life since I came to Colombia, since I just decided to do only what makes me happy.
Yeah.
I don't need a lot of money. I need projects that make me happy. I need problems that I want to solve, not problems that come at me. So I just learned over time, man, ignore the crap and focus on the problems you enjoy solving. A nonprofit has to be a solution to a problem out there, or you go out of business, even if you're
right.
It doesn't matter. You got to be a solution for others. And so how do you find us? Just Minga House, Google it, Minga House Foundation.
And it just appeared right there on the
got it. And guys, girls, if I can help you, I'd love to. If I look happy, it's because I am. So if I can help you explore if Colombia is a possibility for you, awesome. If you want to come and volunteer, short-term, long-term, if you want to try teaching, we have relationships with Reach University, with Moreland University, there's 2 others coming on board that accept, GI Bill. They give you credit for time in the classroom. There's a lot to do. You will not be bored, and it's beautiful. They're good people. They like us, and they're still. I could only get married once, so I left a lot of beautiful ladies available for you. What can I say, man? Come on, visit. We actually started a project, and there's another guy, a major, Army major. He just took it up. That is doing kind of a PTSD veterans program. Maybe you should get him on the show too. And we had a group of veterans here with us, and we started doing kind of a PTSD retreat center a while there. But I got to see how like my best friend, who is one of them, and we're looking for that final chapter in their life, man. And we just want a purpose, a role. We want to be allowed to be the things we love to do. And we don't want to be in a company and organization where we're not encouraged to be the problem motivated solvers that we are.
Right. And having that purpose, having a purpose, and that's what a lot of us struggle with. And because we're getting close to that time, I'm definitely going to bring you back, because there was some other things I wanted to talk about, especially the project that you got going on with your house, and how you came about living in this beautiful place, and so on and so forth. So we're definitely going to make this a part 2, because not only, again, I think volunteering and all the great things that you're bringing is important, but also the other projects that you got going on at your house, brothers. So thanks so much. Hey, if you want to find Glenn, you can find him at the mingahouse.org. And he's an amazing dude. For those of you that are asking in the comments, right now I'm smiling, but I am gritting. I'm bearing the pain. The knee is coming better. I'm walking somewhat normal-ish. A lot of physical therapy and a lot of. But thanks so much for asking, everybody. But before I get out of here, if you're struggling with suicide thoughts, ruminating, and all that other bullshit, and this week has been one of those for me, I'm not gonna fucking lie. Is the bottom line is that you're not alone. Reach out to somebody like like me. Reach out, do a buddy check. If that, fuck, you can reach out to Glenn. He's on Facebook, and as well as John Davis and everybody else that I've had on my show. Reach out to. Bottom line is reach out. Just don't be a statistic. And then now we have to ask ourselves what the fuck we could have done to keep you here. So, but great show. We're definitely gonna bring Glenn back, because he does got a really cool fucking story. So with that being said, everybody, we're gonna go ahead and end this right here. Ice Tomas, Daisuki. See you next week. Yat, hoorah, get some. Woo!